Alrighty, guys. It is 3:30 this Monday, March 24th. Time to wrap it up, and so far, so good, right? So far, the volume weighted mean is holding mean green line, and we are slowly grinding back up here after that 2 o'clock hour. 2 o'clock, they had a little rotation down into the mean, a retest, and I was watching this pretty carefully. I was thinking about a long trade. I was just not quite expecting this little pop. So I was looking at them to try to run this lower and then maybe find a spot to get long. But it's kind of always concerning when you build value like that going sideways and no real directional moves. So you have to do a rundown and then slop and then the big run up here. Now I did take a Nasdaq trade on this spot here. I'll show you that in a bit. But this was crazy action. I'm not sure exactly what this was all about, but there's some crazy activity going on here. And now they are net to the upside again, back up here against the highs. And I was for a while tempted to hop on a short trade, but I'm not going to do that. I think they're going to try to drive this higher. So if I'm wrong, I'm going to miss a great trade. But I'm just thinking that you would probably expect a little bit more selling going into the afternoon if they're going to be taking this lower. So I'm thinking maybe higher prices going into the close here. So that's kind of the dynamic I'm looking for. Now, if you want to try a short here against resistance, just keep a tight stop. If you're wrong, you're just gonna get out of that trade pretty quick. But at this point, I would say that we are pointed higher going into the overnight. If you look at capital flow, we are right here up against this area of resistance, the 58.10s. And next level up is going to be here at the 58.70. So I'm thinking that we may have a shot at it. Let's start grinding this higher. We're going to start running into some resistance here in this area, the 58.45s, the 58.70s, the 58 or 5900s. So we got a few spots where we run into resistance, but just be mindful about those. At this point, though, I'm going to start off on the long side. It looks to me like we're not getting a lot of bear activity in terms of selling, and we very much look like we're going to take this higher. So looking to buy a weakness going into the overnight at this point against the 59, 57 and 90s, against the 57.75s, against that 57.60s. I would still key in with the London low here. If they start trading below that 57.65s and start retracing those three single prints, I would start thinking about maybe a rotation down again. But initially, I'm looking to buy weakness all the way down to that level, 57.65s, for rotations back up again. And then we'll see on the way up. The next area of resistance, I think, comes up here against that 48. It's like 58, 48 to 50s. That's that first area of resistance. In between, there's a couple of levels, but I'm not sure how strong they are. So I'd be watching them, but not necessarily be too aggressive on the short side against these. I think the better short comes against that 58.50s. That would be up against this area right here, against this ledge right there. That would be your 58.45 to 50s. So that's kind of the next area I think we may find some good resistance. Other than that, I would stay on the long side of this. On the Nasdaq and the bonds, first wrap up the bonds pretty quick. The bond market is just kind of holding where we left it, around 1612. Looks like they're pointed lower. And I'm going to be looking for a retest of the 116s here going into the overnight. So thinking short side of the market. Look at the sell strength. It's going to be one against the 1625s, the 28s, 2425s, and probably one here at the 16 to 18s. So against this, I'm going to adjust just a tad, but probably against the 116, 16 to 17s, 116, 24 to 28, 24 to 20, 23 to 24, and then 116, 28 to 30. Rotations back down. So that's the bonds. I think that heading lower as well. On the Nasdaq, though, I did take the last trade I took. It was right here. So they had this big pop. They were down here against support, and I didn't want to really quite do anything. They were just going sideways. Then we had this big pop. It came out of nowhere. And as they start pulling back, halfway, like almost a little bit more than 50% of the bar, I got in here right at the initial balance high, a long trade. Put my stop, made it a little bit bigger, put it down here. So either that's going to be a fake up to the upside and going to hammer me, or this may be the beginning of something. But since today has been a day where everything has been grinding higher, I figured that was a good shot of a success. And I was in this trade. It looked like a great trade, right? I was up here to like the 368, so a good 20 or like 20 points on the upside. I felt pretty good about it. And then suddenly it was like, literally, I was just stopped out. Boom. And then the market, then I saw the bar form after. That's how and someone put on like 1,000 lot or some crazy thing there because that they ran it lower here, and I was at the 6 tick play break even trade, so I was literally skidded 6 ticks on that trade on that stop. That's how hard it ran lower, and then all the way down here to the 27th, and then right back up again. So that's why I just running. What the heck was that? Is like what came out of nowhere, like, boom, and that was it. So. Sometimes that happens, but I was in that day. I was at break even, so I didn't lose any money on it, but that kind of sucked. And now they ran it higher after that. So we'll see if they can hold on to these gains, or if we're going to see some retracement going into the close. But at this point, I would still kind of think the long side of the market. So on the Nasdaq, looking to buy weakness going into the overnight. At this point, against the 300s, it's going to be one edge here at the 270s, one here at the 230s for rotations back up. And I would probably be down to the 200s and the 160s potentially. But if they start backing off that far, I think there may be a little bit more stuff going on. So the first three levels I'll be more aggressive on. So the 300s, the 230s to 240s, and the 200s for rotations back up. Now let's see if we get a little pop into the overnight or not, into the close or not. So at this point, it's anyone's guess, but it looks to me like they're going to try to take it higher. I mean, moment of truth is that those last 15 minutes where you either see a set profit taking a rotation down, or if you're going to get some wild, crazy stuff like a buying a pop to the upside. If that happens, if we close with a little melt up going on, that would be like second day we're doing that. So Friday we melted up into the close, and if that happens today again, that would be a very good sign that we may go higher. And then finally, oil and gold. Haven't traded those today. Gold. That reverse retest we talked about this morning worked great. With the 3030s held as a reverse retest, and then down we went. And if you can sit through the slop there and get on that move to the downside, you would be in good shape. But it was not easy. That was a pretty sloppy move to the downside, but nonetheless to the downside. And then going into the afternoon here, you can see it has died off, and then not much volume after that. But we're rolling, by the way, on the 27th is the last day on the April expiration. Then we're rolling to June. And then finally, May oil, a little bit to the upside. I would start from the long side. I'm going to buy against that 68.80 edge and the 68.30 edge for rotations back up, but not much more than that. So if it starts trading below that 68.40 to 50s, I would be back on the short side to see if they can take it lower. So not much good action on oil. So it's pretty much holding in a range. Just waiting for some of the supply inventory to come in, or increase in supply, so we can drive these prices lower. But anyway, so that's the trade so far. So only 3 trades on the Nasdaq so far, up $9. And I thought I had a pretty good trade at the end there, but that was a weird shakeout. So we'll see where they're going to go. But I think we'll wrap it there for now. So I'll see you bright and early in the morning. Now news before I wrap news tomorrow. We got the 9 o'clock, we get news, housing data. Then at 10 o'clock, we get consumer confidence and more housing data. So that's it for tomorrow. All right, guys. I'll see you in the morning. Have a good one.